Hey yo everybody, Prodigious Charles here, and in this video, I'm going to be continuing my Five Nights at Freddy's 3 analysis video series. And in this video, it's going to be a little bit longer than the last one. Reason being is because, if you haven't guessed already, I forgot to include the minigame from the first level. So what we see here in this minigame is Freddy walking around one of the Five Nights at Freddy's diners. And when he walks down this particular hall, you see clues. In that one it was BB double click, and it also had some button combinations for the arcade machine. And I want to talk about this a little bit. I think it's interesting for Scott to include this as a secret because it adds more interactivity with the game and it makes the player feel like a detective. And the mystery is obviously the Five Nights at Freddy's series. You know that 4 children, or however many children died, 5 children, whatever it was, and they died due to this purple guy. And so you know that everybody wants to know who did it. Including this makes you a detective. You figure out the clues, you do what the clues tell you, and then you find the pieces of the story that lead up to the climax. And that brings us to Night 2. Now, Night 2 is very interesting. As you all know, Night 2 introduces Springtrap, the animatronic in this game, and he's referred to in a very strange way. It's just referred to it. As you may have heard in the recording, the new phone guy sort of downplays his presence. Like, it should be something that you should say straight away, hey, I found one of those animatronics, but he just says it, and I find that pretty ominous. So, like, is he trying to hide something? He knows this thing is dangerous, and I don't know, maybe due to the legends entailing what happened at the previous restaurants that's causing him to do this. I don't know what was the reasoning behind that. So we get more minigames. This is one of the minigames from the clue in the last level. This is BB's Air Adventure, and the design of these games are really nice, and I like that the games are easy to perform, because people of all ages play this game, and you need anyone to figure out how to do things. However, to get the best ending, if you didn't know there's a good ending and a bad ending, to get the best ending, you need to be able to do these obscure things. For example, in BB's Air Adventure, you have to jump out of the screen and clip back into another world to get a special balloon. But that's not all you have to do in Night 2. Remember, you had to double click BB's balloon and then you had to go back into the arcade machine. So that's what we're about to do now, and we'll be playing Mangle's Quest, and same thing. Easy. You know, if you've played Five Nights at Freddy's 2, you know what Mangle is all about. Mangle is an animatronic that children kept ripping apart, and the staff had to keep on putting it back together, and Mangle's parts would always be all over the restaurant and so on. What on earth is that? It looks like something with eyes or something. Oh yeah, and I failed this, so I'm just gonna keep playing the game anyway from here, but I did fail that Mangle's Quest. I hope it doesn't relieve me of the good ending. But anyway, I just go back into it. And yeah, as I was just wondering then, that looks like... Oh, okay, it was just a hand. But it looked like that hand had eyes or something. I thought it might have been a skeleton. Anyway, as I was saying, the minigame is simple and easy to do by people of all ages. And, oh no, there it is. What is that? I have no idea what that is. Has anybody ever talked about that? I'm not even going to speculate on that. But here's another one of those cases where you have to clip out of the world in order to completely beat the game and get the good ending. And I have no idea what that is. I've always wondered what this crying figure is on its knees. Is it symbolizing a child crying? I have no idea. We got some more platforming here, and at the top of all these platforms we have none other than... What? Come on, show us. You can show us, Mangle. Yeah, you're there! A birthday cake under the moon. What does this symbolize? Well, I shouldn't say symbolize, it's a metaphor for the birthday party that happened in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that occurred after you finished your final night shift on night 5. Interesting, right? Right. Or was it night 4? I can't remember. And I think that's interesting to include in the story. Oh, I actually went back into BB's adventure. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting because it's telling you that everything that happens here is because of the birthday party, etc., etc. These animatronics are going around doing their adventures. I don't know if BB was confirmed to be an animatronic, but that leads to another point, like why are BB and Mangle... Oh, that's why I went back into it, to give the cake to the child. There are crying children in each of these levels, and you have to give cake to them. Hold on, there's the fact that there are all these children crying that sort of become alert when you bring cake to them. Does that fact allude to that one birthday party or a series of parties? I don't know, that's something for you to discuss. Alright, I'll go back a little bit more into the gameplay analysis. Night 2 is like the tutorial 2. In the first night, you had to be acquainted with using the camera and making out your environment as quickly as you could. In this night, you have to focus on finding Springtrap, because he's there now, and he moves around, and you have to learn how to recognize where he goes, because in each room, or in most of the rooms at least, he can assume many positions. And if you don't know what those positions are, then you're going to fail. For example, there he was facing right in front of the screen. That's easy to miss, because it just shows a dark figure with a white eye, and that blends in with all the shadows in every single room. Do you see what I mean? And this one got me a lot, especially for cam... well, what is it? Cam 10. Cam 10 is one of those rooms that you just will miss Springtrap in if you don't look carefully enough. He just blends in so well in that room, and that was one of my central rooms for the strategy that I used, because I love just luring him there and trapping him in the vents. And speaking of vents, that's another thing. You get to become acquainted with switching the map and closing the vents for a reason this time. And if you don't, well, obviously you die. But the point is, everything's well thought out, and it leads to a fun experience in the end, and it truly prepares you in a controlled environment for what's going to come in the future nights. Now, if you've listened, this is something that's been bugging me for a bit, but if you've listened to the audio cue that plays whenever you press the play audio button, it's Balloon Boy's voice. I find that a little bit peculiar, don't you? Why is Springtrap attracted to Balloon Boy's voice, and why is Balloon Boy one of the essential parts of the minigames in delivering cake to children? And now we go into the minigame for night 2. Now this minigame includes pretty much the same thing as the first one, except you're Bonnie, and Bonnie goes through the halls. I'll just show you the secret for this one. Notice that there's a purple Freddy trying to guide the animatronics. I don't know what the purple Freddy thing is about, and we have 4 things here, 4 cupcakes. They look like 4 dead cupcakes. Like they have the dead children colors, but they're cupcakes instead. But anyway, notice how there's a purple Freddy saying follow me to these animatronics. How does it have this power over the animatronics, and why is it purple? Is it just purple because whoever's using that suit may be the purple guy, and it's just trying to say, hey, I'm the purple guy and I'm in a Freddy Fazbear suit? Or is it that the purple guy has some sort of control over the animatronics? I don't know. There's a purple guy. Taking a chunk out of Bonnie's head. But I don't know, what do you think? Let me know if you're interested in talking about this. I'd be happy to see what you have to say. Anyway, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, select that like button and send me a comment. If you enjoy content like this, then please click the subscribe button. I'd always be happy to have you on board for future videos to comment and view and whatnot. Do all that lovely subscriber goodness. Once again, I hope you enjoyed that video. See ya!